Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Stomping Ground Studios in Jacksonville, Florida, for this week's edition of Continental Championship Wrestling Superstars of the Ring. My name is Jimmy Rosendorf, and finally back joined by my broadcast partner, the ringside pitchman himself, Donnie Harris Jr. Last week, we saw the first two first-round matchups of the Television Collect the Bounty Championship Tournament, and we saw both Miles Blackwell and the turncoat Chris Turner move on to the second round. Donnie, tonight we have more first round action.
Yes, tonight is a matchup of former tag team partners. On one side you have CB Attitude Cole Bohanon. On the other side you have the metalhead Paul Roberts. And Jimmy, many people are asking, why is Paul Roberts in this tournament? CB Attitude has racked up some significant victories here in CCW. Paul Roberts, not so much. The answer to that question is simple. Paul Roberts, like every other competitor, laid down the $500 entry fee, so he has as much right to challenge for this title as anyone else. So let's go to the ring right now to see if that down payment will pay dividends or if it will be CB Attitude moving on to the next round.
This is our third first round matchup in the Collect the Bounty tournament. Scheduled for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. Introducing first, hailing from Memphis, Tennessee. Prepare to feel CB Attitude because this is Cole Bohanon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cole Bohanon. And Bohanon's opponent about to make his way to the ring. Please welcome the metalhead, Paul Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, here to hit, bang, and bang some heads. This is the metalhead, Paul Roberts.
The CCW Television Collect the Bounty tournament continues as CB Cole Bohanon goes one-on-one against the metalhead Paul Roberts, who hasn't had a ton of success here in CCW, but he has had a groundswell of support as he tries to pick up his first victory in Continental Championship Wrestling.
Yes, and it's like we said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Roberts was allowed into this tournament because it is not about wins and losses. It is about what you are willing to risk. He paid the $500 entry fee. He has as much right to be in it as anyone, even Cole Bohanon.
Yeah, as we heard when Cole Bohanon came out, he is not liked by anybody here in Stomping Ground Studios. I'm shooting us included, but we try to be impartial. But right now, we see just the type of person he is, grabbing Paul Roberts by the hair, using every second of the referee's 5 count before breaking up.
Yeah, when Cole Bohanon has a birthday, there's plenty of parking space.
Can you see? You went better than check him, ref. He's already handicapped. Yeah.
Jeez, come on, Cole.
Ladies and
like
gentlemen, CCW is not responsible for anything that comes out of Cole Bohanon.
But right now, Paul Roberts has taken it to Cole Bohanon, back him into the corner with repeated shots, shot after shot, and he is laying it onto Cole Bohanon, breaking it up as the referee tells him to.
Definitely a storied history with Paul Roberts and Cole Bohanon. Former tag team partners had a shot at the tag titles.
Oh my God! Just took Paul Roberts' hat off. He can't be banging his head if he doesn't have one attached to his shoulders.
Vicious clothesline by Cole Bohanon, hitting Metalhead like a Mack truck. Pulling the hair once again.
Lifting him, keeping him up there, letting him think about it before making him feel the sting of the canvas up his spine. Could Cole Bohanon be moving on? No, Paul Roberts finding a way to kick out at 2.
Crowd getting behind Paul Roberts. Little bit of a Shaggy Dog story here with Paul Roberts. Folks would love to see him shut up the CB attitude mouth of Cole Bohanon.
Right now it is Cole Bohanon shutting up Paul Roberts with those shots to the jaw, choking him out now in the corner.
Cole Bohanon in his last outing in the CCW ring lost to the Wild Thing, Mike Anthony, who will also be in this tournament later on in a first-round matchup against Shooter McGee. Who knows, they could meet later on in the tournament. Cole Bohanon certainly would like to get some revenge. That is provided he can get past Paul Roberts.
Paul Roberts with a clothesline now.
Oh, a clothesline of Paul's own. That's new.
With another clothesline. He is rolling, rocking and rolling right now. The metalhead is taking it to Cole Bohanon, ducks a clothesline, comes around, kick to the gut, jaw, right to the jaw. Big shot. Could Paul
Could this
have
be
a
it?
victory? No, Cole Bohanon able to stay alive in the Collect the Bounty Championship Tournament.
Some surprise offense by Paul Roberts, Jimmy. We're kind of used to seeing, get his head kicked in, but here,
No, he has found a rhythm here in recent weeks and months in CCW, finding new ways, finding new offense, evolving his game, getting the crowd behind him,
And
and he
this
feeds
is-
off that energy.
this is a double-edged submission right here. He's almost choking the neck, and he's got that knee digging into the back. The weight advantage that Cole Bohanon is of no use if he's on the ground, but Cole Bohanon seems to be powering out of it, getting back to his feet.
Bohanon using those repeated shots to the stomach with his elbow, the point of the elbow driving straight in. Oh, Luthes press, firing away right now. Always has a kiss to blow to the referee right there, but no, this might be it. No, Roberts stays alive in the tournament.
Fixing to say, like rock and roll, Paul Roberts refuses to die.
Ask him, ref. He's going to stand there and look pretty nasty.
But right now with that almost guillotine type choke right now, he might not have any choice but to tap out. But he's getting the crowd firmly in his corner.
CB just showing no respect there to the ref, telling him how to do his job. We can assure you that Scotty, our official, knows how to do his job quite well.
And I don't mean to be impartial, but I'm honestly, personally cheering for Paul Roberts. Somebody who has not had a ton of success, as I said earlier, but now is finding his way, going for the electric elbow drop, it looks like. Or electric leg drop straight across the chest. Could this
All right,
be
it could be it, Jimmy. 1, 2, no.
1 second away from having his first victory and moving on, but he can't allow himself to get frustrated as he is. He's a bit of a hothead, but he has to find a way to get those emotions under control if he wants to knock off somebody the caliber of Cole Bohanon.
Yes, and he took too long. He let Cole Bohanon get back to his feet. He should have immediately went on the offense like he's doing now. But when Cole Bohanon's on his feet, he's got that weight advantage on Paul Roberts.
Headbutts right now by Cole Bohanon. Just this viciousness that we see from him time and time again. This is what he talks about when he talks about that CB attitude. Another headbutt. May have knocked them both out right now.
That headbutt is a double-edged sword. It does a lot of damage, but you absorb a lot of damage. And both men are now on the ground. And this is what we don't want. If the ref counts to 10, both men will be counted out, and neither man will advance to the next round of the Collect the Bounty tournament.
And when you're somebody like Cole Bohanon with a head as hard as his, those headbutts are even more dangerous than effective.
Cole Bohanon's head is so thick it could have sank the Titanic if he'd hit it.
Bohanon the first back to his feet to gain the control right back in the corner. He's done a good job this match, as much as I hate to compliment him, of controlling the pace, controlling. Well, right now, Robert's able to reverse that. Oh, see the pain, and we have a body slam. Nearly drove him straight to the mat.
Paul Roberts showing a bit more strength than I thought he had.
He is a deceptively strong and deceptively agile athlete. Waiting for Cole Bohanon to get up. What could he have in mind right here?
Setting him up for something. Jimmy, this is a mistake. He should have went right for the pin, but he wants to please the fans. He wants to put on a show for the people that are cheering him on, but all this bravado might bite him in the butt.
What is Cole doing now?
There are no timeouts in wrestling. Although official Scotty letting Cole Bohanon get back to his feet and catch his breath. CB egging on Metalhead Paul Roberts. Oh, Metalhead can throw some smack there. Of course, Cole Bohanon throwing that foot into the breadbasket.
Going straight back to that stomach. Stunner! Oh! Roberts put up a great fight in this match, but CB hits the stunner and pulls the tights.
A great showing by Paul Roberts, but alas, CB moves on.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner. Moving on to the next round, this is Cole Bohanon.
A great effort tonight by the metalhead Paul Roberts, getting ever closer to picking up his first victory in CCW, but those dirty, cheap fighting ways of Cole Bohanon was just too much for him to overcome, and he moves on to the second round of the television Collective Bounty Championship to the chagrin of everybody here in Stomping Ground Studios.
But Paul Roberts, another valiant effort, and every time he steps into the ring, he gets closer and closer. He improves. We saw massive new skills and techniques from the metalhead here tonight. That crowd is firmly behind him, and Jimmy, I think that very soon, one day, it will be official Scotty raising Paul Roberts' hand in a victory.
Cole Bohanon doing to the metalhead Paul Roberts what the 90s did to the hair metal of the 80s. And CB Attitude will be moving on to the next round, and he may be challenging either Mike Anthony or Shooter McGee in the next round of matchups. But someone who is noticeably absent from the bracket, Jimmy, the Alaskan Titan, Cody Knight.
This is a tournament that everybody in CCW has been excited for months, ever since this Television Collective Bounty Championship has been introduced. All the wrestlers, all the officials, all the fans have been excited to get this tournament underway. But as you mentioned, one notable absence is the Alaskan Titan, Cody Knight. He decided not to turn in the $500, decided not to throw his name into the hat for the Collective Bounty Championship because he has his eyes on a different set of gold. And the CCW cameras caught up with him earlier today, and this is what he had to say.
In the locker room, I've gotten the question a couple times now that, oh, Cody, we're talking about how excited you were for the Collective Bounty Championship tournament. What happened? Like, why didn't you compete? Because there's one reason. I came into my senses and I realized there's one real prize here in CCW that I want to go after. It's the CCW World Heavyweight Championship. So while it's a great honor for someone to be the first ever Collective Bounty Champion, I have my sights on something on much, much more prestigious. And speaking of prestige, let's talk about the former champions that have held that title. Daniel Anderson, who we call the crown jewel of the Diamond Exchange. I have his match coming up in a few weeks. Landon Cruz, another great champion, the new breed, one of the most exciting superstars here in CCW. I beat him in the second round of the tournament last year. And Cecil Andrews, Cecil Andrews. He's one of the most methodical workers in CCW and one of the cornerstone pieces of the Diamond Exchange. And I've taken him down multiple times, including in the third ever match of my career. So if there's anyone who's deserving of that shot, I think it's me. So let's talk about Stampede this year. Let's talk about Stampede on January 22nd here in Jacksonville, Florida. Darian Drummond, you've held that title for long enough, but keep it warm, buddy, because Cody Knight's coming after you next.
The Alaskan Titan, Cody Knight, has his eyes set squarely on Darian Drummond and the CCW Heavyweight Championship. And that is a prize he could win January 22nd at Stampede 31 if he's able to win the 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal and go on to challenge Darian Drummond later that night for that championship.
And speaking of championships, next week we have the
Whoa,
final turn.
whoa. Enough. I see Rosendorks here and Pee Wee Donnie Harris. Enough about the Alaskan kid, Cody Flight Knight, whatever he calls himself. You all just saw what happens when I'm in the ring. I took on pitiful Paul Roberts and I left him laying there for the 1, 2, 3. It doesn't even matter who wins this next match. Either if that little puny guy that we call Shooter or if it's Mike Anthony. I'm going on and I'm going to win. So make sure you stay tuned next week to see who loses to me. Actually, never mind. Get out of my way.
Whoa. You're not taking a